All right, in this little review, we're going to look at the payment function, which seems to trip people up from time to time. So this is a financial function to figure out a payment that you would make on a loan, for example, based on the loan amount, the rate, and how many payments you're going to make. So here I've got my headings. I've got a loan amount of 16,500. Let's assume that we are buying a used car, okay? A nice, not super old used car. So it's going to cost 16,500. We're going to take out a loan for the entire amount. The loan rate is going to be 7%, and that's an APR rate, so that's an annual rate. We're going to take 5 years to pay it off. And we're going to make 12 payments per year. So this is going to be a loan that we pay monthly, okay? So if we're trying to figure out our payment, we're going to use the payment formula. So it's equals PMT, open my parentheses. So the first thing you need to put in is your rate. So we've got our rate right here, which is 7%. But that's an annual rate, and we're trying to figure out a monthly payment. So we have to take that rate and turn it into a monthly rate. Well, it's not as hard as it seems, because all you have to do is divide it by the payments per year. So if there's 12 per year, turns that rate into a monthly rate to align so that the interest rate is aligned with the payment frequency. Okay, so now that we have our rate per payment, we need to know how many payments there are. Well, there's 5 years, but we're going to make 12 in each year, so we times the 5 by the 12. Okay. The next thing we have to figure out is the present value, or the PV. So PV is whatever that loan amount is at the beginning of this loan. So that's our 16,500. There's no need to amend this number for anything in this case. The next thing is our FV, or future value. So future value is, what is this loan amount going to be at the end of the 5 years? Well, as with most loans, it's going to be 0. So in most cases, you can put a 0 there. And then lastly, we have to input a 0 or 1 based on when these payments happen. So are these payments happening at the end of the period or beginning of the period? So in our case, we're talking about monthly payments. So does it happen at the end of the month or the start of the month? So unless it says in your question or instruction or your Excel sheet you're working in that the payments are happening at the start of the period, you would always assume that they're happening at the end of the period, and oftentimes they will just tell you it's at the end of the month, end of the year, whatever it is. So we can either double click on this to get the 0, or I can just type it in there. We can close our parentheses and hit enter, okay? So because our financial functions in Excel work on a cash flow basis, well, we have a loan that's 16,500 and we have to outflow cash to pay it down. So this will return a negative number, and typically in your Excel sheets, your instructions will tell you that you want it as a positive number. So the easiest way to change this is just to go in your formula, put your mouse in between the equals and the PMT, put a minus, and hit enter. And there you go. So it's changed to a positive number. So if you have a $16,500 loan at 7% paid off monthly over 5 years, your monthly payment would be $326.72. So there you go for the payment formula.